right, Amy, so today you implemented your strategy of judge and jury to work towards your goal of increasing student engagement. And back way when we kind of set that goal, we talked about increasing it by 30%. But today you had some really good findings, and that data proves that we've kind of really exceeded and excelled that goal. So you told me today that you probably had just about 100% participation with students, and if they weren't necessarily answering the questions and being the judge, you still had students that were fully engaged in what you were talking about. So you knew that they were listening and on topic and getting what they needed to from the lesson, even if they weren't necessarily speaking themselves. And we're measuring this data by really seeing how many students are participating, like being engaged. You can still participate even if you're not technically speaking in the game out of your total amount of students, okay? And so will you tell me a little bit about what went well?
Sorry, what was your question again? All of it went well. They loved it. They had fun. I mean, it was a way to learn, but it didn't seem like learning. It's sort of like sneaking vegetables into the spaghetti sauce.
Yeah.
They're eating those vegetables and they're loving it and they don't even know it. So that went well. They all were interested in the lesson and they all wanted to participate. Well, they didn't all want to participate, but they all, either those who didn't want to participate in the actual activity were definitely wanting to watch the whole show. Mm-hmm. So wonderful for engagement.
Absolutely. And what was that other thing that you used to help encourage students to speak up a little more?
Candy? Woo! Candy rewards.
Candy always
So
works.
the jury, members of the jury who were willing to participate got 3 pieces of candy, and the one whose text evidence that was selected, or the juror that was a favorite, that had a favorite piece of evidence, got 5 pieces. So, and they're small candies. It's not like that, you know. But they were willing to do that even for the small stuff.
They're not going to get a cavity, but at least they enjoyed it. Okay, so so what are you seeing in your students that shows that this strategy was successful? Because from our eyes, it appeared successful because everybody was engaging, or it appered to be. But what are you specifically seeing with, like, in regards to answering the question, maybe with text evidence or giving specific details?
Okay, so I'm not sure if I can assess the question exactly the way you want me to.
Okay.
I'm trying to assess the question, but let me see if I can answer it in a satisfactory way. So you mean the requirements for the game, you had to come up with the text evidence that supported a generic question. But there was plenty of text evidence out there. It's just that the judge had to find the very best one and then explain why it was the very best text evidence out there. And although he could have selected one of his friends, he really listened. And I even said, would you like for that student to repeat the text evidence? And he said yes. So that it was really a matter of finding the best part of the book that would support the question. So did I answer your question?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. So
Let's get that fogger.
So you're saying that because we had our judge and he was choosing the text evidence, that he really had to listen for what was really good text evidence,
right?
And not, or the best text evidence, and not necessarily just text evidence that satisfied the question.
Exactly.
Yes. And so he was truly listening, and that's how you can really analyze if this strategy, is successful or not. And maybe that doesn't work with all students, because some students are more motivated to see or to help their friends out.
Yes.
And whatnot. So I'm glad that worked out for you. What did you learn by implementing this strategy, and what can you take away from it?
Okay, well, I could give better directions. The directions weren't super unclear, but the piece that I omitted was that when I asked the question, but the judge was there to listen to the responses, I didn't make it clear that they need to have their book open. Mm-hmm. You can't just give text evidence from memory. You can't say, because this character did so and so. I needed the text evidence means from the text, word for word.
Yeah.
So I didn't say have your books open because that's how we're going to do it. Because the books were already out on their desks, I just thought that was to me, it was a foregone conclusion for them to be prepared and to open those books up and to give text evidence. But a lot of them just sat there and raised their hands, and I was like, "Oh, nope, get your books out." So the product is as good as the explanation or the directions are.
Right, absolutely. Not to make any assumptions, but just to be explicit about your directions.
That's it. Boy, those were good teacher words. Good job. Okay.
Do you want to keep using this strategy as it is, like in the future?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. And I would love to use it when Language Arts starts to read Tangerine and we're taking annotations and doing text evidence.
It is fun. It works.
Yeah.
It's very successful. They're definitely into it. Don't forget the candy though. That's a big seller. That's a big seller. Oh, actually, when we were done with the lesson, they wanted to know if we could continue it Monday. And I was like, maybe, we'll see.
That's awesome.
I know they want to do it again. So just to let you know, when you start Tangerine, if you do it once, they want to do it again. Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to keep using this strategy? You answered that. Do you want to change the way that we measure progress towards increasing student engagement?
Well, how do you mean exactly?
So right now we're just kind of like counting, we're kind of gauging how many students were participating.
Right, it's
out of your
observation.
total.
It's observation.
Observational data or observational data collection. Whereas, is there something?
Well, we're having a test,
Okay.
and those pieces of text evidence will be on the test, and so I'll have empirical data from that,
Okay.
measurable
great.
data.
So we can include that next time. And so, how long do you think you would want to implement this strategy to increase, your student engagement as much as possible to where we would meet again and reevaluate?
Oh, in other words, how many more times would I like to practice this strategy? 3 more times.
Okay. And like, how would you space those out in time increments?
Well, because
Once a month?
I would say probably twice a month.
Okay.
Well, I said 3 times. So 3 times within a month, because
Okay.
kids, things get predictable, and then they get old, and then they're not as
Efficient.
the novelty is worn off. And so then they begin to figure out how to worm around things, or how to take shortcuts, or it's like, oh, it's this game again, right? So you have to try a lot of different things for them, so they never know what they're walking into. You have to be very unpredictable with things. They really like not knowing what's going to happen when it comes to any kind of review or any kind of they walk in and they're like, is she gonna do something fun today, or is she gonna be boring today, right? So but that game, after the 3rd time, that's like a charm.
Yes.
I probably wouldn't do it again after that.
I agree. Okay, awesome. And on a scale of 1 to 5, how committed are you to increasing student engagement?
1. No, I'm just kidding. 5. We all want them to be engaged and to learn, But remember this, kids. The key is sneak their vegetables to them.
Yep.
Because why not, get them what they need, but without them knowing that you gave it to them, right? Or that they earned it and they learned it, but you didn't tell them they had to earn it or learn it.
Right.
They just wanted to be there.
Yep, they wanted to do it.
Yep.
I think that's where we want to ultimately take, learning and teaching is to where they don't feel like they're learning, but they're able to obtain that information and have fun with it.
Those are some good teacher words.
So I'm glad you were able to do that. Amidst all of our COVID regulations, that they were able to have so much fun and just truly be engaged. So thank you so much for doing our strategy and implementing it. I really appreciate it.
No problem.